So now the question is, what does that mean for our clients, and what are some of the key areas we're focused on to grow the business? I'll provide a few examples of areas we're really excited about. Pharmaceuticals is the first one. Since the onset of COVID, the importance of securing medical supply chains has never been greater. In the next 5 years alone, incremental capital requirements for contracted pharmaceutical manufacturing and dedicated pharmaceutical logistics in the US and Europe alone is $100 billion. Similarly, the need for industrial gas infrastructure, which is critical for semiconductor manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, hydrogen production, has never been greater. The 4 largest industrial gas companies in the world are forecasting $75 billion of capex needs in the next 5 years alone. That's a 50% increase compared to the last capex cycle. Electricity grids, that's another example. This has been in the news quite frequently over the last few months. Electric grids in the US and Europe are ill-equipped to facilitate net zero, to feed artificial intelligence infrastructure or data centers, and third, to secure the energy supply chains. For context, because of the geopolitical crisis in Germany, the capex needs for transmission lines, these are not distribution lines, this is not electricity generation, this is just the transportation of electrons from renewable power sources to the end users. That capital need, post the geopolitical crisis, has increased from $100 billion to $600 billion. And Germany, because of its constitution, doesn't have the ability to subsidize this by just borrowing more. And for the first time in their history, they're contemplating private capital solutions. Now, moving on to artificial intelligence. Has anyone heard the phrase artificial intelligence in the last 18 months? It's everywhere. Yesterday, I picked up a hard copy of the Wall Street Journal at the hotel. It had 4 headlines on the front page. First, NVIDIA's antitrust probe because they got 80% market share of AI chips. Second, Apple's need to integrate AI into its products to compete with Samsung. Third, XAI and Tesla's rev share model. And 4, in case you missed it, Jannik Sinner won the US Open in straight sets. So what does that mean? 75% of the headlines on one of the best newspapers in the world yesterday morning talked about AI. And there's a reason for that. AI is primed to be the most impactful general purpose technology in modern history. There's 3 other similar technologies so impactful we've seen in the last 3 to 4 decades. It was computers, semiconductors, and semiconductors, and the internet. AI has the potential to be the next. Total economic productivity improvement from artificial intelligence is expected to be $18 trillion. That's an enormous number. But for us to get there, more importantly, total capital required is $8 trillion. This capital will be spent on data centers and renewable power, an area Natalie will touch on shortly. But there's a lot more to the AI value chain than just data centers and power. There's graphic processing units, which are 4 times more expensive than CPUs, or central processing units. So these graphic processing units are much needed for AI. Artificial intelligence chips are much needed. 95% of these chips are produced in Taiwan today, and that production needs to be extrapolated across the world. One of these fabrication facilities costs up to $30 billion. And lastly, robotics. With the advancement of deep learning and combination of deep learning with accelerated compute, we finally have the ability to get closer to autonomous transportation and robotics. And that is another huge area of growth for artificial intelligence. But the punchline is there's a lot of physical infrastructure required for us to get to that $18 trillion outcome. And that's a huge opportunity for Brookfield. As Connor explained earlier, we are the largest data center owners in the world, some private data center owners, one of the largest renewable power owners. And that is what makes infrastructure really exciting.